If I told you that within you there is a power so immense that it can transform any suffering into wisdom, any fear into courage, any emptiness into fulfillment, would you believe it? Or would you continue looking outside of yourself for what you already carry within your chest? My dear friend, sit comfortably. Take a deep breath. Let these words sink into your heart, because what I'm going to share with you today isn't just knowledge. It's a golden key that can unlock the doors to a life you may not even know is possible. Over 2,500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha abandoned all the luxuries, all the pleasures, all the security of his palace. Why? Because he had discovered something you've also discovered, even if you're not aware of it yet. That no matter how much we have, no matter how much we achieve, no matter how much we accumulate, there is a deep thirst, a subtle emptiness, a constant restlessness that is never completely quenched. You know that feeling, don't you? But what this prince discovered beneath a Bodhi tree changed not only his life, it changed his understanding of what it means to be truly human. And this secret, this power he discovered, is available to you too. But first, I need to tell you about Maria. Maria woke up every day at 6 a.m., rushed coffee, chaotic traffic, stressful work, bills to pay, complicated relationships. At night, she fell into bed exhausted, promising herself that tomorrow would be different. But tomorrow arrived the same, and Maria felt like a hamster on an endless wheel. Have you ever felt this way? Like you're living but not really living? Maria didn't know it, but she was experiencing what Buddha called dukkha, the inherent suffering of human existence. Not the dramatic suffering seen in movies, but this subtle suffering, this constant dissatisfaction, this feeling that something is missing. But here's what Maria didn't know, and what you might not know either. This suffering isn't a punishment. It's a teacher. It's a calling. It's your soul screaming, "Hey, there's another way to live." When Buddha sat under that tree, he didn't run away from this suffering. He embraced it. He observed it with the curiosity of a child observing a butterfly. And in this profound observation, he discovered something revolutionary. Suffering does not come from external circumstances. Suffering comes from our relationship to those circumstances. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine you're holding a burning coal. Your first reaction is to throw it away, right? But what if I told you that this coal can turn into a precious diamond if you know how to hold it correctly? Think about that argument you had yesterday, that bill that arrived and left you anxious, that dream that seems impossible to achieve. These aren't just problems, they're opportunities in disguise for you to discover this secret power that I'll reveal to you by the end of this video. But first, I need to ask you a question that may change your perspective forever. What if you discovered that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the creator of your experience? In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to access this power Buddha discovered. I'll teach you 3 simple practices you can start using today to transform any situation of suffering into an opportunity for growth and fulfillment. But before we continue, I want you to ask yourself an honest question. How many times have you tried to change your life by changing the things around you instead of changing the way you see those things? You know, my dear friend, over thousands of years of counseling people, I've realized that we all carry 3 fundamental fears. The fear of not being loved, the fear of not being enough, and the fear that our life has no meaning. These fears live in what scientists call the reptilian brain, the most primitive part of our mind that is always on alert, always looking for danger, always trying to protect us. But here's the paradox. By trying to protect ourselves from these fears, we create the very thing we fear most. By trying to control everything, we lose control. By trying to ensure we'll be loved, we become less lovable. By trying to prove we're enough, we feel increasingly inadequate.
Do you recognize these patterns in your life? It was then that Buddha discovered something extraordinary. The source of all suffering is not in circumstances, but in attachment to circumstances. Not in pain, but in resistance to pain. Not in what happens to us, but in the story we tell about what happens to us. Imagine you are like the sky. The clouds pass by. Some are beautiful white clouds, others are dark storms. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky that allows them to pass. Your emotions, your thoughts, your circumstances, they are the clouds. But your true nature, your deep essence, is like this infinite, undisturbed sky. And now we come to the crucial moment, my dear friend. The secret power I'm about to reveal isn't complicated, but it is profound. It doesn't require special tools, but it does require courage. The courage to look within yourself with honesty and compassion. Are you ready to discover who you really are beyond all the stories you tell yourself? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm going to share in the next few minutes could be the turning point between a life of reaction and a life of conscious creation. And the secret power is this, my dear friend. You are already complete. Stop for a moment. Breathe. Let this truth penetrate every cell of your being. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to achieve anything else. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The fulfillment you seek out there already exists within you, just waiting to be recognized. But why then do we feel so incomplete? Imagine the infinite ocean. Now watch a wave forming on the surface. This wave could be small and gentle, or it could be a raging storm. But tell me, is the wave different from the ocean? Of course not. The wave is the ocean, simply expressing itself in a specific way for a moment. You are like this wave, and life is like the ocean. Your fears, your joys, your successes, your failures, all of these are just different forms of the same infinite ocean of consciousness expressing itself through you. When you understand this deeply, something magical happens. You stop fighting the waves of life and start dancing with them. But Buddha, you might be thinking, and when the pain is real, and when I lose someone I love, and when I'm betrayed, and when my dreams fall apart. Ah, my dear friend, this is the most human and most important question of all. And the answer may seem paradoxical at first. True healing comes not from avoiding pain, but from moving through it consciously. Let me tell you about a young monk who came to me completely broken. His wife had died, his children had rejected him, and he had lost everything. Through tears, he asked me, "Master, how can I find peace when everything I loved is gone?" I led him to a garden where a wilted rose stood. "Do you see this flower?" I asked. "Does it suffer from wilting?" He was confused, so I continued, "The rose does not resist its natural cycle. It does not fight against wilting. It is not ashamed of being no longer young. It simply is in each moment of its cycle. The pain, my dear friend, is not the problem. The persistence of the pain is. And the persistence of the pain comes from our resistance to it, from our attempt to control or deny it. Everything in life is impermanent. Your joys and your sorrows, your successes and your failures, even your deepest fears. They arrive as visitors, not permanent residents. But what if you learn to welcome these visitors with dignity, knowing that they too will pass by? Here is the first practice that can transform your life today. The next time you feel any tense emotion, anger, fear, sadness, anxiety, instead of running away from it or completely identifying with it, do this. 1. Stop and breathe deeply. 2. Say to yourself, anger is visiting. Interesting. 3. Observe the emotion as if you were a curious scientist observing a natural phenomenon. 4. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me? 5. Don't try to change the emotion, just observe it with the same curiosity you would observe a sunset or a bird in flight. You know, when I was sitting under that Bodhi tree going through my last night of searching, it wasn't some mystical experience filled with golden lights that awakened me. It was something much simpler and more revolutionary. I was watching my mind, all its desperate attempts to find answers, all its fears about not being able to, all its painful memories rising like ghosts from the past. And then, suddenly, I realized something extraordinary. I was not those thoughts. I was the one observing them. It was like discovering that you are not the movie playing on the screen. You are the screen itself, undisturbed, on which all movies can be projected. And you, my dear friend, when was the last time you stopped to observe your thoughts instead of being carried by them like a leaf in the wind? The greatest source of human suffering is an illusion. The illusion that we are separate, isolated beings, struggling alone against a hostile world. But this separation is like the horizon. It seems real from afar, but when you get closer, you discover it doesn't exist. You are not separate from life. You are life, expressing itself in a unique and precious way. Consider this. The air you breathe right now has been breathed by countless beings before you. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. The water flowing through your veins was once rain, once the ocean, once tears of joy and sadness. How can you be separate from something you are made of? Here is the second powerful practice. Tomorrow, when you wake up, before even picking up your cell phone, spend a few minutes in bed and reflect on this. At this moment, millions of people are waking up around the world. Some wake up with joy, some with worry, some have a lot, some have little, but they all share with me this fundamental experience of being alive, of breathing, of feeling. Send a silent intention of peace and well-being to all these beings. Feel connected to this immense web of life of which you are a part. Do you know what the most powerful moment of your life is? This one, this very moment as you read or hear these words. Not yesterday, which is gone like smoke in the wind. Not tomorrow, which exists only in your imagination. But this eternal, infinite moment of now. What if you discovered that all the fulfillment you seek is available right now? Before we continue this transformative journey, I want to make a special request. If these words touch your heart, if you feel like you're discovering something precious about yourself, subscribe to this channel right now. Why? Because what I'm sharing with you isn't just a video. It's the beginning of a new way of living. And in the next videos, I'll guide you step by step through the most profound and transformative practices I've learned over thousands of years of existence. Imagine what your life would be like if every week you received a new tool to transform suffering into wisdom, fear into courage, emptiness into fulfillment. Click that subscribe button because your awakening journey is just beginning. Now, let me reveal to you something that can completely revolutionize your relationship with life. Time is the greatest illusion of the human mind. You live as if it were a straight line, past, present, future. But reality is completely different. There is only this eternal, infinite, ever-present moment. Your regrets about the past, they're thoughts happening now. Your anxieties about the future, they're sensations you feel now. Your happiness, your sadness, your fears, your dreams, they all happen in this single, timeless moment. It's as if you have a powerful flashlight capable of illuminating any darkness. But instead of using that light to see where you're going now, you keep pointing the flashlight at where you've already been, remembering the past, or at places you haven't even reached yet, fantasizing about the future. Meanwhile, you trip over rocks that are right in front of you because you're not paying attention to the path you're walking on at this very moment. When was the last time you used your full flashlight of awareness to completely illuminate this present moment? There was a merchant who spent his entire life traveling the world in search of the most valuable treasure in existence. He sold his home, abandoned his family, braved storms and thieves, all to find this legendary treasure. After decades of searching, exhausted and without hope, he returned to his hometown. He decided to renovate the house where he was born, which had been abandoned for years. And while digging in the garden to plant a tree, he found the treasure. The treasure was always there in the place where he was born. He just needed to stop looking outside and look where it had always been. Do you see the parallel with your own life?
Your mind has been conditioned since childhood to believe that happiness is right ahead. When you finish your studies, when you get that job, when you find the love of your life, when you have enough money, when your children grow up, when you retire. But consider honestly, how many of these arrivals have already happened in your life? And did you feel completely fulfilled? Or did you discover that your mind had already created a new arrival? This isn't your fault. It's how the mind works. It's like a GPS that only knows how to say, keep going, never, you've arrived. Here is the third practice that can instantly connect you with the fullness of the present moment. The practice of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop right now and take a look. 5 things you can see around you. 4 things you can touch or feel on your body. 3 things you can listen to right now. 2 things you can smell. 1 thing you can taste. Do this with the curiosity of a child discovering the world for the first time. Notice how, in those few seconds, your mind stopped wandering through the past and future and anchored itself completely in the present. This is the gateway to fulfillment. Not a fulfillment you need to achieve, but a fulfillment that already exists and is just waiting to be noticed. But there is an even deeper dimension to this secret power that I need to share with you. True wholeness is not an individual state. It is a state of deep connection with all life. When you truly awaken to who you are, you realize something extraordinary. There is no you and others. There is only one life expressing itself through billions of different forms. Your neighbor's pain is your pain. The joy of a child playing is your joy. The suffering of someone on the other side of the world is your suffering. This is not abstract philosophy. It is the most concrete reality there is. What if I told you that every time you judge someone, you're judging a part of yourself? And every time you offer compassion to someone, you're healing something inside of you? A mother came to me carrying her dead son in her arms, begging me to bring him back to life. My heart broke at the sight of her pain, but I said, I can help you, but you must do something first. Go to the city and bring me a mustard seed from a family that has never known loss or suffering. She left with hope. She knocked at the first house. Do you have a mustard seed? We do, but... And they began to tell about their grandfather who died last year. Second house, they had mustard, but their daughter was sick. Third house, they had mustard, but they had lost their jobs. House after house, she found mustard, but she could not find a single family that did not know suffering. At the end of the day, she returned without the grain, but with something far more valuable, the understanding that she was not alone in her pain, that suffering was part of the universal human experience. And in that understanding, she found peace, not because the pain disappeared, but because she felt deeply connected to all of humanity. This is the most powerful alchemy there is, transforming the lead of isolated suffering into the gold of universal compassion. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how can I use this experience to better serve life? Something miraculous happens. Your pain becomes medicine. Your wound becomes wisdom. Your suffering becomes compassion that can heal not only you, but all those you touch with your presence. But now I need to be firm with you, my dear friend. I need to awaken the warrior that sleeps within your heart. Stop playing the victim of your circumstances. Yes, life can be hard. Yes, you may have been hurt. Yes, you may have faced injustice, loss, and disappointment. But listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. You are not what happened to you.
You are what you choose to do with what happened to you. Every moment of your life is a choice. With every breath, you can choose to be a victim or to create. You can choose to complain or to transform. You can choose to close yourself off or open yourself to the impossible. Why do you think the lotus is the sacred flower of Buddhism? It's not because it grows in fragrant gardens and fertile soils. Quite the opposite. The lotus grows in the darkest, stinkiest mud. Its roots feed on waste, rot, and what others consider trash. But behold the miracle. It is not contaminated by the mud. It uses the mud as nourishment to create the purest and most beautiful flower in existence. You are a lotus, my dear friend, and all the mud of your life, your pains, your failures, your disappointments are the fertilizer for your flowering. But answer me honestly, are you using the mud of your life to flourish, or are you drowning in it? Here's a truth that can either free you or scare you, depending on your level of courage. You are 100% responsible for the quality of your life experience. But Buddha, you may protest, I didn't choose to be born where I was born, to have the parents I had, to go through the hardships I went through. And you're right, you didn't choose your initial circumstances. But listen carefully. You choose at each moment how to interpret and respond to these circumstances. Imagine life gave you a piano with some broken, out-of-tune keys. You have two choices. 1. Spend the rest of your life complaining that your piano isn't perfect, comparing it to better pianos, blaming whoever gave you that instrument. Or 2. Learn to create beautiful music with the keys that work. Find unique harmonies that only your piano can make. Which choice seems wiser to you? Which will lead you to fulfillment? Here is the fourth transformative practice. Think about a difficult situation you're facing right now. It could be a problem at work, a complicated relationship, or financial hardship. Now, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask these 3 questions. What is this situation teaching me? How can I grow through this experience? And how can I use this hardship to better serve others? Practice this for a week and watch how your relationship with problems completely transforms. I need to destroy a dangerous illusion our society has created. The idea that you should be happy all the time. This is a cruel lie that leaves you suffering twice. First, from the natural pain of life, and then from the guilt of not always being happy. Fulfillment is not being always happy. Fulfillment is being whole, able to feel joy when joy comes, able to feel sadness when sadness is appropriate, able to feel anger when injustice appears. 2 monks were walking along the road when they encountered a young woman who couldn't cross a muddy river. The older monk carried her on his back, crossed the river, and set her down on the other side. Hours later, the younger monk, clearly disturbed, said, "Master, our vows forbid us from touching women. Why did you carry that woman?" The elder monk smiled.
I left that woman on the other side of the river hours ago. You are still carrying her. How many situations from the past are you still carrying around unnecessarily? Forgiveness, my dear friend, is not a favor you do for someone who hurt you. It's a gift you give to yourself. When you forgive, you're not saying what happened was right. You're saying you no longer want to carry the poison of resentment in your heart. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Is there someone you need to forgive to be completely free? It could be someone else, or it could be yourself. Do you know what one of the greatest sources of suffering in modern life is? Spending your entire life trying to be who you think you should be, instead of discovering and celebrating who you truly are. You wear different masks for different people. One mask at work, another at home, another on social media. And amidst so many masks, you forget your true face. A tree never tries to be another tree. The apple tree isn't ashamed that it doesn't bear oranges. The oak tree doesn't feel inadequate because it isn't as flexible as bamboo. Each tree expresses its unique nature with complete dignity. And for this very reason, each contributes its own special beauty to the forest.
What about you? What is your unique nature that you're trying to hide or modify to please others? It's time to stop rehearsing your life and start living it for real. It's time to stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start creating beauty with the conditions you have now. It's time to stop comparing yourself to others and start blossoming in your own uniqueness. Because you didn't come into this world to be an improved copy of someone else. You came to be an irreplaceable original. And now, my dear friend, we come to the most important moment of our entire conversation. In the final minutes, I will reveal the final secret, the golden key that can unlock all the doors of fulfillment. But before that, I need to ask you one last question that could change your life forever. If you knew that today was your last day alive, how would you choose to live the next 24 hours? Stop for a moment. Feel the true weight of this question. Don't think of a pretty or correct answer. Feel the truth that emerges from your heart when you truly consider this possibility. Who would you rather be with? What would you rather say? What would you stop doing immediately? And what would you start doing without further delay? This isn't a morbid question, my dear friend. It's liberating, because when you truly accept the impermanence of life, something magical happens. You stop wasting time on what doesn't matter and focus on what truly matters. Most people live as if they were immortal when it comes to postponing dreams, and as if they were going to die tomorrow when it comes to worrying about nonsense. What if it were just the opposite? What if you lived every dream as if you were immortal and treated every worry as if it were going to die tomorrow? There was a king who was always alternating between extreme euphoria in good times and utter despair in difficult times. His wisest advisor gave him a ring with a special inscription: "This too shall pass." When the king was at the height of happiness, he would look at the ring and remember, "This too shall pass." He would no longer become arrogant or desperately cling to the moment. When he was facing his greatest crises, he would look at the ring and remember, "This too shall pass." He would not despair or lose hope.
And so he found equanimity, the peace that remains steady through all the storms of life. "This too shall pass" may be the most liberating phrase you've ever heard. Here is the fifth and most powerful practice. Every day before bed, lie down comfortably and imagine it's your last day. Feel gratitude for everything you've experienced, the joys and pains, the successes and failures, the loves and losses. Then imagine you're dying peacefully, leaving this body like taking off an old garment. Feel yourself dissolving into the infinite universe, returning to the source of all life. Fall asleep in this energy of total surrender and acceptance. When you wake up the next day, it will be like being reborn. Each day will be a gift, not a chore. And now, my dear friend, the time has come for the final revelation, the golden key that can open all the doors of fulfillment. The secret power to living fully is to stop looking for fullness. Does it seem paradoxical? That's because it is. Life is full of sacred paradoxes. To find yourself, you have to lose yourself. To be strong, you need to accept your vulnerability. To be free, you must surrender. To live fully, you must accept death. To have everything, you need nothing. Imagine a perfectly calm lake on a full moon night. The moon is perfectly reflected on the water's surface. Beautiful, perfect, complete. Now imagine someone who sees this reflection and wants to possess the moon. They dive into the lake to retrieve it. What happens? The waves they create completely destroy the reflection. The more she tries to grab the moon, the less she can see it. You are that person trying to grasp fullness when it is already perfectly reflected in the calm lake of your being. Surrender isn't giving up, it's wisdom. It's stopping fighting the current of life and learning to sail with it.
It's about stopping trying to control the uncontrollable and focusing on the only real power you have, the choice of how you respond in each moment. It's changing the question, how can I make life give me what I want, to how can I dance beautifully with what life is offering me? When I stood beneath the Bodhi tree on my last night as Siddhartha, I struggled with all my might to find enlightenment. I used every technique I had learned, pushing my mind in every way possible. And the more I tried, the further away enlightenment seemed. It was only when I completely stopped trying, when I completely surrendered to not knowing, when I accepted that I might never find the answers, it was in that moment of complete surrender that everything revealed itself. Enlightenment wasn't something I achieved. It was something I let happen when I stopped trying to stop it. And now, my dear friend, we come to the question that can transform your life right now. Are you ready to stop being the director of your life and become its dancer? Are you ready to trade the illusion of control for the reality of conscious creativity? Are you ready to discover that you don't need to become someone special because you already are the most extraordinary miracle there is, a unique and unrepeatable expression of life itself? You don't have to wait until you finish this video. Transformation can happen right now, in this moment, in this breath. Take a deep breath. Feel your heart beating. Realize that you are alive, aware, present. This consciousness that is reading these words, that is feeling these emotions, that is having these insights, this consciousness is the wholeness you seek. You don't have to acquire it, earn it, or deserve it. You just have to recognize it, celebrate it, and let it shine through you.
And now, as we approach the end of this sacred conversation, I want you to feel something very special. You are not the same person who started watching this video. Something changed, something awakened, something remembered a truth it had always known but forgotten. And this change, however small it may seem, is the beginning of a revolution in your life. A silent but powerful revolution. A revolution from the inside out. My dear friend, we have reached the most important moment of our entire journey together. The moment of decision. You have two choices now. One, you can close this video, go back to your everyday life, and let these words become just another piece of information in your mind, hoping the transformation will magically happen without your active participation. Or you can do something revolutionary. You can decide that today is the day your real life begins. Which choice makes your heart beat faster? Listen carefully. There is no right time to awaken. There is no such thing as sufficient preparation. There is no guarantee that tomorrow you will still have this clarity, this motivation, this fire in your heart. The moment is now. Not because I'm saying so, but because your heart is screaming it at you right now. You feel it, don't you? That sacred urgency pulsing in your chest? If you truly want to live fully from today onwards, I need you to make 3 sacred commitments to me, to yourself, and to life. First commitment, presence. I commit to living each moment as a precious gift, not as an obstacle to getting to the next moment. Second commitment, compassion. I pledge to treat myself and all beings with the same tenderness I would treat a frightened child in need of a hug. Third commitment, courage. I commit to being authentically who I am, even when it's uncomfortable, even when others don't understand. Are you willing to make these 3 sacred commitments? For this transformation to become a reality in your life, not just a fancy theory, you need daily practice. Here's your new sacred routine. When wakening, 3 minutes. Before you even pick up your phone, take 3 deep breaths and say, "Thank you for another day of life. How can I serve life today?" During the day, whenever you remember, when you feel stress, anxiety, or any difficult emotion, pause and ask, what is this situation teaching me? How can I grow through this? Before sleeping, 5 minutes. Reflect on 3 things you are grateful for today and 1 way you served life, even if it was small. This simple practice can revolutionize your life in 30 days. Are you willing to give it a try?